what in the hell are we looking at? When you are a buyer, and most of you that are watching the videos on our channel are potentially thinking about moving here to Northern Nevada, but we want you to understand what you should be looking at as an actual buyer of a home versus what we're looking at as actual real estate agents, so that when we're walking around properties, we can figure out what are the important things to know, so that if you raise your hand and you say, ooh, I really like this house, I'm thinking about writing an offer on it, there's lots of different things that we need to be prepared for in order to put that offer in place. We're gonna walk around one of our actual listings today, and we're gonna talk about what we would want you guys to be looking at and what we are looking at, so that they're not always the same thing. So let's go take a look inside and discuss all the things you need to be aware of when you're looking at buying a home. So if you're enjoying the kind of content we're putting out there and you're getting some value and some information that you need if you're thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. We love for you to comment below, like the video, share them with people you know that might want information about moving to Northern Nevada. We would really appreciate it. So go ahead and click that subscribe button, and we'll see you on more videos each and every week. All right, so first things first, we just drove up to this house. It is in a cul-de-sac. So you want to know if it's something where cul-de-sac locations are great, but there's always not tons of parking out on the street. So if that's something you're looking for, something you need to be aware of. Now, this house is a little bit raised from the street. So you have a driveway that slopes up, and if Sydney pans that way, we've got a nice big 3-car driveway. And if we walk this way towards the driveway, the clients that we had who lived here actually had a giant RV. Now, it's difficult to get it up here because it's sort of a narrow, somewhat odd driveway, but this entire gate, it opens, and they were parking a big RV on the side of that fence. So depending on if you had a small boat, a small camper, something that wasn't overly big, this would be relatively easy for you to get to park something. They've got a shed over here on the side, and of course, you've still got the 3-car garage. Now, we talk about houses all the time. Yes, this is a 3-car garage, but when we show it to you from the inside, this 3-car garage is probably twice as big as most 3-car garage that you see in more of your traditional standard type home. So when you're looking for, and you say I want X amount of bedrooms and X amount of bathrooms and this many car garage, they're not always the same, because again, this is a really big 3-car garage. This is really good RV access. And again, you have a big driveway that does slope down. So if it's something that you're worried about, snow, sun, this driveway faces to the east. So this would be a driveway that if snow hit it, it would be on this driveway a little bit longer than if you turn the house around and your driveway was facing towards the west. So those are the kind of things we're looking for, is which way they face, some pros and cons of the exterior of the house, where what we want you to know is, will my toys fit? Will my cars fit? Is this enough space for me as I pull up on the exterior of a house? And as you walk this way towards the front door, you're gonna see it is nice, because I'm a big fan of having the front yard not be overly big and the backyard be bigger because it's more usable space. But if you come this way, they have a really nicely landscaped front yard. It is not overly big, nice grass, some rock features and things on those. The sprinklers just ran, so we know that it has sprinklers as well. But as you come up here, we've got this nice front covered porch area. So if you're someone who's looking for a covered porch that just wants to sit out in front of your house, you can easily do that, set some furniture up here and make it really nice. So we want you looking at those things. We're looking at, what does the paint condition look like? What does that flooring condition look like? Now that the sprinklers just ran, is water hitting up against the house causing problems or potentially damage, or things that we need to look at in an offer? How is the front door? Is it painted? Does it need paint? How's the door handle and the locks and stuff work? And as we're walking up, there's a window here. Is there features of this? Are the screens missing? How did the windows look, and those kind of things? And of course, if you're the seller, you want this area to look as clean and as amazing as can be. So as we start to go into the house, that's your initial view and that initial curb appeal. And this house does a really nice job of showing off the positive features of it, which is what you're looking at, where we're looking at more maintenance and repair type situations, things to be concerned with. So let's go take a look inside, and we'll start talking about what to look for as we walk in that front door and start discussing some of the other features of the home. All right, so we just walked in the front door. Sydney is videoing from there. And if you walk in and you look to the right, this is a small kind of living room space. It's got a gas fireplace. We've talked about that in other videos. For a house that's not older, you're always gonna have gas fireplaces. It has nice carpeting. She is standing on some hardwood floor, so the entry is actually a hardwood floor area. As the front door stairs, and she can pan that way, the stairs go up to that upstairs, and to her left, you have more hardwood flooring that leads you into the formal dining room. Now, we want to make sure that your furniture will fit, that your things are big enough, your dining room table will fit. I'm looking at the floors. Are they in good shape? Are they beat up? Are they not? When we walk up and down the stairs, are those railings in good shape? and those kind of things. And as Sydney comes more this way, this house is really cool as it has this nice fancy dining room, but they took one of the bedrooms and they converted it into a wine cellar. And if you come right in here, this was one of the bedrooms that hung out in the other room. They turned it into a giant wine cellar. So they've got room for all these bottles. They've got a nice countertop. And we're looking at the fixtures of these particular properties. Got a really cool chandelier. And again, a room that's a little bit different than what you would normally see. This would normally be another bedroom downstairs. And if we continue back this way, back towards where you would walk in through the garage, you do have that typical off the garage space, laundry room, and you have a downstairs hall bathroom. Now, the reason there's a downstairs and was really a full bathroom was because that room that was the wine cellar used to be a bedroom. It is no longer a bedroom. And again, this is a room at the pricing that it is. Most people may not like the blue tile floors or the old school looking tile. So is this something that you might want to remodel or not? And as we turn, Sydney just turns around, or she's now in the laundry room. Same thing there. The flooring is some really old blue tile, but the laundry room sink and all that stuff, they've done a nice job of redoing. So you're going to see a little bit of mix of those kind of things. Those are kind of a window and blinds that we're going to be looking at to make sure they're in good shape. But if she comes down this way, now you're sort of back in that entry living space area. We're walking into more of that formal, like sort of great room that you see all the time, which is a really big, nice kitchen, newly upgraded appliances. This has all been remodeled. And a lot of homes in this area have not been remodeled. So as you can see, as you walk through this house, it's sort of partially remodeled and other parts are not redone. They've got a nice little wine bar area. So this house has a full wood burning fireplace. And again, this would be something that as realtors, we're looking at what kind of inspections we need. What kind of condition does that fireplace look at? You've got a bunch of windows here. So we're going to try to keep an eye on those windows because obviously if you would have to fix and replace those windows, it would be a huge deal. And here in a minute, we're going to go check out the backyard while we're still on the main level. But you had what was a breakfast nook area. They've turned into a large, you could put bar stools up in living area. You've got the original oak cabinets that were in here, but newer appliances. So again, it's one of those that's been partially remodeled. And we want you looking at these things because if you were thinking about remodeling this kitchen, then you're going to be spending a different price point than a house that's already been redone. So let's go take a look in the backyard real quick before we go upstairs. All right, so now we took a step out into the backyard. You see they put this really nice patio in. They've got an outdoor fireplace. There's a covered TV up there right now. Water features, partially landscaped. And then they fenced off part of their lot. The entire lot is not fenced off. Some of the lot goes on the other side of the fencing. And again, looking at this big deck overhang from the upstairs, looking at those wood features, you can see the grass is in good shape. And as of right now, the sprinklers are running. So these are the kind of things that we want to keep an eye on to start looking at some of the maintenance. I start looking at the siding, the gutters, the exterior light fixtures. If Sydney pans over here behind where the shed is, that again is back towards that RV access that we had that was going on earlier today. And this back here used to be a play set. The play set was removed because my existing clients, they had a play set there. The other clients did not want that play set, so we had it removed. But you can see you've got a nice big play area. So for someone who's got little kids, this house works out really well. But again, at the same time, we're looking at it as the windows, the trees. Does everything look like it's in good shape? And does it look like it's alive? Like for example, there's a tree back here and the lower half of the tree looks a little worse for wear. So if I'm a buyer, that's something where do I need to have an arborist come look at it, which would not be a normal inspection that we would do. So it's just a little bit different. I want you looking out here, will my furniture fit? Will my kids love this backyard? Would I enjoy having this outdoor living feature and water feature? I might even at some point want to interview and talk with the sellers about how does some of this stuff even work? What zones are my sprinkler systems on and things on those lines. But again, you've got a nice little cookout area. You've got a refrigerator, a cooktop, a barbecue. You've got all the things that you would want in a backyard. The thing is we want to make sure now all this stuff is working and to make sure that it is all included in the sale versus it just being something that you're not quite sure about. So again, if we come over this way, we're going to look, this house has been recently painted, but we'd be looking at the trim paint, the actual paint colors, making sure that all those things are in good shape so that if there's going to be some expenses that you're going to have sometime in the future, you want to know about those. So you can see over here with the white paint, the trim on the windows is starting to get a little more off-white. And I remember when they started using all these windows 20 plus years ago, when they first went, I wasn't sure how well they were going to last versus the metal frame windows that we used to see all the time. And so when you start to see them discolor, part of it is this house backyard faces west. So this side of the house, this side of the paint, this side of the windows is gonna get more beat up than a normal house that would be turned around. Because I always say, every house has their hot side, and you wanna figure out which side faces west so you know about your driveway versus your backyard where the hot sun's gonna come from. And there's a lot of different things that we wanna think about that we'll let you know. Because again, if you're watching these videos, likely you live somewhere else and you don't know these details about the neighborhoods and what's going on. And that goes into why you need a local real estate expert to sort of walk you through these houses to let you know what you can expect to see and what are the pros and cons of this particular house happens to be in Saddlehorn. Well, what are the pros and cons of those neighborhoods and those type of things? So, you know, we'll see. But let's go take a look back inside. Let's walk upstairs and give you some of the less upgraded features and some of those areas upstairs that were not remodeled. And these clients were gonna do it, but then they decided to move. And now the next person is probably gonna remodel those areas. As for this area, they got this house for a much lower price than if they would have gone upstairs and done all that already. So let's go take a look and we'll show you what some of the things that we'd also want you thinking about looking at if you're thinking about buying a house just like this. All right, if you're starting your journey on moving to Northern Nevada, do us a huge favor. Click the link in the description below. You get a copy of our free buyer's guide that'll get you a lot of the information you need in starting your journey in moving to Northern Nevada. And now I got Sid at the top of the stairs. I want you to see in a 2-story house, you got this spiral staircase. And really, we want to make sure that all these banisters and all that are in good shape. This is something you see get called out in inspections quite a bit because sometimes they'll be loose and you don't want kids falling through that kind of stuff. This one leads right up to the master bedroom where we got French doors, somewhat low ceilings in here. There's a part that's a little bit lower and then it does get a little bit higher. But again, this room does have a gas fireplace. It does have a patio that leads out into that deck that you saw from down below. And again, pillars, some of the things in these models can be a little bit dated if you're not into that kind of thing. And then as you walk into the master bathroom, which is I know something that they were going to remodel if they would have stayed and kept living here. But you can see, you know, this is a house that's 30 plus years old and it's in fantastic shape. If you like the green tile and the white floors and the gold fixtures, that's just not something you're seeing a lot in these more modern homes. So we just want to show you that, like you said, if this was a house that was fully remodeled, we're in a neighborhood where homes can sell from literally, you know, $1 million to the point where they could sell for $2 and $3 and $4 million. So someone who wanted to come in here and do some remodel work, that's a question we get all the time from buyers are, hey, if I bought this house and I put in $100,000 or $200,000, will I get my money back? Well, in this house and in these neighborhoods, you absolutely would be able to do that. And again, somebody might like these features and it's in amazing shape. So it would not be something that you actually had to do right away, but it's something you need to be thinking about. And I know when people are buying, they want to make sure if I dump a bunch of money in a house, am I going to be able to get my money back out of it? So we shall see. But let's walk down the hall. We'll check out some of the other bedrooms. So we're going to take a walk down. Here's where the other bedrooms were. And if you go all the way down, it used to be 3 bedrooms. But for example, here's a bedroom that is going to feel really dark. Part of it is because it's got a really dark navy blue ceiling. You've got dark walls. And if you come all the way in here, Sydney, and you turn towards the other side, they had a whole Alice in Wonderland theme going on. People ask me all the time, if I'm a seller, should I paint this? Should I get rid of it? I wouldn't necessarily say you have to. Somebody might come in and love it, or you might have to issue somebody a credit to be able to paint these rooms. And again, you can make this a lot less dark if you painted it back to white or really light colors. And again, depends on if you had girls or boys. They had a daughter living in this room, so it just depends on what people are really looking for. But again, a room like this doesn't really need a whole lot other than potentially paint. So as you come into this shared bathroom with the other bedroom, this one's going to be a lot like that the master bathroom was, where you've got a lot of original stuff. This is that original tile that you see, those original backsplashes. You've got the gold out of here, but you've got some of these other features. But if Sydney walks in there and kind of shows you where the toilet and the shower and the tub are, it's kind of your usual kind of old school stuff that you would see. And if you go ahead and go into that back bedroom back there, Sydney, you're going to see, can that easily be done into a more modern theme? Absolutely. You pull out the wallpaper, maybe you paint the room a different color. But again, it's a nice, really big room. You've got some cool built-ins that you're not going to see in some of the more newer modern houses. But again, this can be done and redone in a way that can be done however you like it to do. So just things, again, to think about as you're looking through a home. And we're looking more at damage, repairs, windows, all that kind of stuff, the light fixtures, all those kind of things. All right, so a thing that happens in some of these little bit older houses is you're going to see, as we come out this way, there's a room here that used to have a wall and was actually another bedroom upstairs. So this house could be a 5-bedroom. It was originally a 5-bedroom. Right now, it's only a 3-bedroom because they took that room downstairs and turned it into a wine cellar. And because they opened it up, they use it as a playroom for their daughter. But you could easily wall this back in, put a door in here, and make it either an office or a much more usable another bedroom, or you could just leave it wide open like this. But again, it's thinking about what possibilities may or may not actually be something that you can do. And again, upstairs in this house are all the bedrooms. So when we get questions about, hey, I need a downstairs bedroom, this is not a house that's going to work for somebody. This is a house that's basically all bedrooms upstairs and all living spaces downstairs, especially now that they converted that one room into a wine cellar. But as you're looking through this space in these rooms, what we're looking at for you is, or what I want you looking at as a buyer potentially is, will my kids or people using these rooms, will their furniture fit? How would I reuse this space if I want to? Maybe I have 2 kids and I want to use this as a place for them to do their schoolwork, and I'm just going to make it sort of an office den area. Again, things like light fixtures, TV mounts are typically part of homes now, and a lot of times you'll see them ripped off the wall. There's some repairs to be done with that. But again, you've got the plug outlets higher, where a lot of times you used to have them down lower, those kind of things. So we're just trying to look at all the potential extras, work, repairs, damage, upgrades, any of those things that you might be thinking about doing. We're thinking about a lot of those as well, but I want you thinking more about, again, what would it be like to live here? How does it feel? Does it flow right? What is the floor plan? Will my furniture fit? And just overall, how will this work for my lifestyle? All right, with that being said, we're gonna go take a walk downstairs because I wanna show you this 3-car garage, because it is not your standard 3-car garage, and it also has a little room off of that garage that can be used for extra storage in a workroom. So let's go check out that garage, because again, when you see the word 3-car garage, they're not all the same. So you just have to understand, what do you need? What are you looking for? And while we're down there, we're gonna look at things like the water heater. Potentially we wanna go outside and look at the air conditioner, even take a look and see if the furnace is in there. Some furnaces in our area in the garages, sometimes they're on roofs and attic spaces. So depending on where that stuff is, we wanna look at it, because again, this is a 30-plus-year-old house, and we wanna make sure that those aren't 30-plus-year-old systems, because if they are, those are things that in the near future you might be spending money on that you have to redo, upgrade, repair, and fix. And that's money people aren't always thinking about. And that's stuff where we want our inspectors looking at those type of things so that we know how much life do we feel is left on these particular items. So let's go check out the garage. All right, so now we've walked in. I'm down on the main floor. In this house, when you walk out of the laundry room, there is about 6 or 8 stairs here that Sydney's standing on. And typically this wall that leads into the house is considered the firewall. So you're gonna see here in a minute, the door that we just walked out of does have a hole cut in the bottom of it. It has a pet door on it. Tele inspectors don't like to see that because you've sort of breached the firewall. Some people won't care, but it's something an inspector will definitely look out. But if Sydney pans around in here, you can see, one, there's cabinets way up high. The ceiling is probably 20 feet, so you can easily get all those new contraptions that you see from attics where people have their canoes and their bikes, and you can use this space. I even had one client who had a car lifts and literally was stacking cars on top of each other using the height of his garage space. So just know, this is not your typical 3-car garage. It's got the nice finished flooring. And if Sydney comes down this way, you're gonna now get a chance to see the systems of the house. At least 2 of them. The air conditioners will be outside, but you can see that is not the original furnace. So that is something that we would want to look at, because honestly, on another property we were just looking at recently, if you want to replace furnaces and air conditionings, the systems all work together now. And that literally could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, depending on how big a house, how big a system, and how old the other equipment is, as far as that stuff goes. You've got a nice 80-plus gallon water heater here. So this stuff has obviously all been well-maintained and new. Again, we didn't look at the air conditioners outside, but it's something as we walk around the exterior of a house you want to look at. And if you walk back this way, there's a room off of the garage that houses the central vacuum equipment. But again, this can be used for multiple different things, and this is not included in the square footage, and this is not included in the garage space. So it's things where you can't always base your home offering price or what you're thinking about based off just square footage, because again, things like the lot size, the garage size, and a lot of the exterior features are not really counted in the square footage of a house. So a lot of times trying to figure out what that pricing is kind of difficult. It's funny, as we were talking about the systems, the air conditioner, or one of the air conditioners, is literally right out this window, something we would definitely want to look at if you were here looking at this house. But if you come this way, Sydney, when we were talking about that RV access, this is where that RV access literally lets you out to. So if you did have a camper or a boat or something out here, easy access to it. You've got the shed here. You've got another pet door cut into the wall right here. So again, this one's not as critical as that one that cut into the house. And if you pan back around over here, Sydney, you'll see the air conditioner is right back over this way, back tucked in that corner, which is actually kind of nice because it keeps it out of the hot sun. It should wear better. And in this particular house, that is obviously not the existing air conditioner as well. So again, a lot of those systems that have been redone and reconfigured to be much more user-friendly and to be in a situation where you're not gonna have to play the repair game or the replacement game. So let's recap here real quick. If you are a buyer, what we want you looking around the house is for your lifestyle, will your furniture fit? Do you like the neighborhood? And again, if you're new to the area, we'll coach you up on some of the neighbors and some of the places you want to be. And part of that's going to be based upon your price point. Certain price points, you're not going to have access to depending on what you can afford to spend on. But what we want you doing is looking at, do I love it? Do I want to live here? And that kind of thing. Then we're going to coach you up on things like being cautious about the schools, the property taxes, the condition, the systems, the maintenance, the deferred maintenance. What does the roof look like? And of course, a lot of this stuff is going to have to wait until an inspector looks at it. Some of it is going to be very obvious to us as we're walking around these properties. So we just want you to know the way we look at a house, we're looking at all those things. I don't necessarily want you looking and walking around worrying about, at least not at first, about those things. Because again, when we go out the first time and you're seeing 6 or 8 homes, we're just trying to figure out what areas you like, what properties seem interesting, do the floor plans work? Are you getting what you thought you were going to get for the money? So if you were spending $600 or $1 million or $2 million, what do you get here versus where you might be moving here from? So we're trying to just get a lot of that off your back so that when you do finally say, okay, here's my price point, here's my neighborhoods, and I've narrowed down where I want to be, then you'll have a much better feel for making an offer on a house and knowing what price to offer on. So if you have questions about all those kind of things, obviously we want to answer those as we're doing it, but that's part of why, as we're showing you not just one home, but multiple homes over probably sometimes multiple trips, we want to all be looking at different things. And then as, usually you can tell as an agent when somebody starts to walk around and they have a different vibe or a different feel and say, hey, I really like this house, that now at that point, we're going to start to look at things a lot more differently. And just know the way I and my team look at it are going to be different than yours. So again, if you have questions, we want you asking those as we're looking at these properties. So if you're someone who's thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, do me a favor, check out this video we did about the best neighborhoods in Northern Nevada. I think it'll help you as you start trying to figure out what you need to know about living in this great area.